Hi, today we are going to talk about Jade, and Jade is a HTML template engine. And let me first, before explaining you about Jade, let's encircle a problem. Why HTML contains a lot of redundant code. So if you take a look at this pretty simple HTML page, we can see that it contains a lot of redundant code. So definitely we all know that if we have open tag, naturally we will have a closing tag. Exceptions, this is self-closing tag, but this is like another topic. And when typing HTML, we have to actually type this closing tag, despite the fact that most modern IDE they do it for us. But still, all of this information is redundant, and it contributes to it's called unreadable code or tag soup. So if I will request to find unordered list, it's not visible, it's not explicit immediately where to search it, and you spend time, but this is pretty small document. And if we open for example index.html, and definitely we use directive, and most probably DSL, domain specific language. In my opinion, this is much more important feature of Angular than two-way data binding, but this is another lecture. But you can see it's pretty hard to pinpoint the exact information that we're looking for, but it's not the worst case easy. Oh, I know what we can do. So let's start a browser, and let's search for the dentist Jefferson Park. Okay, it's Illinois. This is Yelp. Yeah. So, for example, this is like a website, and if we click on it, yeah, it looks well. I can tell a lot about, and but if we open page source, oh, what is this? So, well, like archaeologists, by looking at one bone, can actually build the whole dinosaur. I can tell a lot. So look at this. So probably it contains, like, I would say 20 pages, and it's completely unreadable. It has millions of empty lines, and if the customer's request to correct something, it's a nightmare for developer to pinpoint whether, for example, even some such simple like changing the color of the button, it will take a while. Well, I know that I'm sure that this website is probably abandoned and nobody is updating it. This is just another topic, but my point is that this HTML is completely unreadable, and to some extent even the page that is written in a pretty systematic and methodical way, it still contains a lot of redundancy. And Jade, this is an HTML template engine which allows to reduce significantly redundant information, increase code readability, maintainability, and so forth, modularity, and so forth and so forth. And so we can take a look at, I created this test Jade. There is a small problem, specifically if we're using Angular and we have this framework. It's pretty deeply involved in our development code. So it's our engine, and Jade, to some extent, it does the same thing, or at least one part of Angular, actually its templating ability does the same like Jade. And certainly the most effect from Jade will get people who probably use like simple HTML file, because they will be able to do the same like templating, doing a loop, and like we using in Angular ng repeat and so forth and so forth. But despite all of this, some kind of collision and overlapping between these two framework, even Jade gives a lot, specifically in that it clears the code, and the less code we need to write, naturally the less mistake we made, and set of advantages which actually follow from this fact. Another advantage is right now there's test HTML, and there's a compilation step, so it is like less or SAS or stylus. It is compiled to its view, in this case HTML, which is then going to be consumed by browser. And in my opinion, I took a look. I'm certainly not a great authority in Jade, but I wouldn't, if you have already Angular application, I wouldn't switch completely to Jade, because first of all, Angular digest cycle may not be aware what Jade does, and you have to either wrap it in apply, in scope apply, in order to manually start digest cycle, and everything is alright. It will be workable, but it's not so clear, and it will lead you to the problem. Okay, so let's start to see in order to install it. Jade is not modules, so probably npm install, or you can find on its site how to install it. But then we need to compile, and definitely we want to compile online. We want to compile immediately and update all our browsers. And for this we need to install the same with npm, our Gulp module for Jade. It's not very hard to guess that its module is called Gulp Jade. Yeah, and installation is very simple, standard, and when you write your build file, there's several properties that you may want to tune in order to get the effect that will be more appropriate to your workflow. If you are in development, it's probably reasonable to compile HTML in unminified style. So if we open our build, how it's called, and yeah, this is our Jade task. I copy it exactly from GitHub repository. I want to take up in up folder and all of its recursive subfolder. I want to take files with Jade extension, and this line, it's pretty important if you want in all of these compilers, when it compiles, whether it is styles, whether it is HTML, it has some rule, and if the developer violates this rule, it creates an error. So the compiler doesn't know what do you mean. Is it a new tag, or and with Angular everything can be a tag, and or it is just typo, or it is the first word of your text that you want to appear in HTML. And if I remove this line and run a server, it watches your Jade file in order to, when you make some changes and save it, compile it to HTML, and if it encounters an error, it will stop. It will notify and stop, and it's pretty annoying that after correction and error you need to restart the server, and if you didn't do what it's supposed to do, you need to repeat this process again. So it's pretty annoying, and Svetlana get mad before I fix it. I found this Plumber plugin, and what it does, so what usually Plumber does, so it fixes your problem, and how it works, that with Spike you can intercept your flow, your code flow, and it intercepts, and if you made a mistake, and let's go, for example, and in our for example H1, let's open a brace and add some gibberish, and if we save it and go to HTML and refresh the file, come on. Really? Okay, let's then open it inside of our browser. Yes, and probably I added gibberish incorrectly, and if I edit it to URL, it's still not an error. Well, it becomes too smart, but what? So it just that does not. Well, it's something new. And if I'm going to make a so, but it doesn't probably make any changes. Yeah. So the changes, it doesn't compile, and it leaves its old version and doesn't update it. Just because I have this gibberish, and probably in terminal it lets me know that I did. Yeah. So it's here. It is. It let me know. It's pretty verbose, but it is possible to find it. That we're doing something else. It doesn't know what this tag means, and we will talk soon about the syntaxes. That syntaxes is done with indentation, and I mean tag nesting is done with indentation, and let's delete it completely. Let's make sure that everything is shown. And if I want to create UL, and I want to create this UL on the same level like our paragraph, so they can be compiled to sibling tags, sorry, and li, and inside of li I type item 1. Yep, and yeah, we have this HTML file. So we made a mistake. It does nothing. When it has a mistake, it notifies you, but when you correct it, it start compiling again. So inclusion of this Plumber is very important, and don't forget about this. So another settings that probably you want to tune depending on your workflow. So inside of production code, when you compile it and are going to finish with your project, you need to set this debug to false, or rather comment it and set pretty to false, or it would be possible just omit it and default is false. The only issue that when you change some properties, and these properties are related to Gulp functionality, you need to restart the server. It doesn't catch it on the fly, and I don't know why it's probably so we need to go ahead and stop the server and run it again, and you will take a look on this test HTML, and we're going here. Our text is the same. Let's make some small change, or let's delete it rather. It will be easier. But if I will add some exclamation mark here, okay, it shows on. But if we take a look on this test HTML, so you can see that our HTML is minified, so all redundant white spaces is removed, and for browser it's completely readable code, and definitely it takes less space, and the user experience is definitely better. And let's go to syntaxes. If we open Jade templating engine, so the main principle, especially for Angular developers, which probably are not going to use all properties of Jade, the most important principle, this is nesting principle. So the nesting is shown with indentation. So if I'm typing HTML, and inside of round braces I can set any properties, and it will be compiled to it will be compiled. So let me close this document, let me maximize, and we probably do not need browser for this time, and I will put this document to the bottom. And it is compiled, so there is a mistake, and I can see that this mistake happens. So you can see that it puts opening HTML inside of doc type, and this happens because I missed indentations here. And if I'm add additional indentation. I need to change all of the indentation. And and still this is an error, and let me select everything and indent together with all the code. Okay, settings, format. Well, I was lazy to add this indentation shortcut, but there is, and probably I will do it right now. Indent selection. This is, now I have this Ctrl+Shift+A, Ctrl+Shift+9. So if I select everything which should be enclosed in doc type and press Ctrl+Shift+8, it will indent everything, and if I'm saving and update these compiled files, okay, body HTML, yeah, everything is fine. Okay, doc type HTML. I don't think so that is necessary for HTML5 to have it. And do I have a server run? Yes, it was running, and okay, I edit it and refresh it. Come on. Okay, let me delete this HTML file and make some change here. Probably I can Ctrl+Shift+9. Okay, and it will be added, and yeah, it is removed. So I'm starting with HTML. So this is problem with WebStorm, that it doesn't synchronize files with this compiler, but all changes is definitely updated inside of online browser, and taking into account that we probably will not be taking a look in HTML even on development phase, even only if you have some error, only then you should take a look on this. So for me it's not a big deal to have synchronized it. HTML file, but the key principle, and I have only 2 minutes left. The key principle, this is indentation. You want to nest tags inside each other. So for example, I want to have, so right now H1, because this, okay, this is JavaScript, I don't need this JavaScript for the sake of simplicity, and I have this paragraph, and this paragraph, you can see the size of font, and this happened because our paragraph and UL are nested inside of H1 tag. They are embraced with this tag. But if I want to get them on the same level, so it's not difficult to guess that I need to re-indent. And if I'm saving it, so we can have now their sibling tag, and this is H1 is related only to this title. And if you update our HTML, probably I need to edit to Jade, and now I can synchronize it. Yeah, now it synchronizes. So you can see that we close our H1 just after we finish it. And if I'm vice versa, if I indent this to tag, they will be embraced in HTML. And H1 will be closed after closing UL tag. And if you take a look on these two documents, even if we have property pretty is true, this document is much more clear, and the advantage for me is obvious. And if you have doubts switch or not switch, give it a try. Give it a try, and all the compilers, probably after the first compiler of LAS or TypeScript or almost all helper tools, utility tools that help in development, they do not force you to start immediately with all properties. You can start and take a valid HTML document, copy it to Jade file, and it will compile absolutely the same, and you can use just 1% of tags, and then you can use a little bit more, and now gradually you can switch and save a lot of time. Thank you, and bye bye.